Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, we are going to be discussing the U.S. Constitution. Our objectives are to analyze and evaluate the text, intent, and meaning and importance of the U.S. Constitution, and we will do this by creating a magic foldable about the U.S. Constitution and its principles. So let's get a little background on the U.S. Constitution. First of all, the Declaration of Independence, which we discussed in the previous lesson, was the document that set up a series of aspirations or goals for Americans. And in it, the writers promised a system of government that would promote liberty, equality, and individual rights. So their first attempt at creating this government was the Articles of Confederation. This is the first version of our Constitution, of our government. And this government was established by the colonists after they declared their independence. However, it was not successful because it created a very weak association of states that cooperated economically sometimes and would come together for defense purposes, but for the most part they were very independent, and so the federal government had no power to tax, no power to raise an army, no power to enforce any of its laws, and therefore it did not work. So a constitutional convention was called in 1787, and delegates from the states were sent to Philadelphia to discuss what to do, how to fix the Articles of Confederation. But they decided that they couldn't fix it, and the best thing to do was to scrap it and just start all over. So they decided to write an entirely new constitution, and they came up with the constitution that we have today. So one of the founding fathers at the convention was a man named John Jay. He was very well respected in the colonies because he had negotiated a peace treaty with England. He was a very skilled politician. He also had co-authored the Federalist Papers, so he had helped convince colonists to ratify the Constitution, and he was one of the leaders of this convention. John Jay eventually went on to become the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. He also was involved in the Jay Treaty of 1794, which resolved some territorial disputes between Great Britain and the United States and averted a war. And he then became even the governor of New York. And during his time in New York, he worked to reform the penal code, and he also helped to eventually abolish slavery. He undertook extensive road and canal projects to improve New York as well, and again, he was a very well-respected founding father. Alright, so the Constitution has these principles embedded into it, and we're going to discuss these in more detail when we do our foldable, but they include popular sovereignty, republicanism, limited government, federalism, the separation of powers, and checks and balances. So just write those down in your notes, and what we're going to do is look them up, define them, and draw a picture, and we are going to create a magic foldable to help you study these for your exam. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the lecture, and we will have the opportunity to analyze some of the content of the U.S. Constitution through our activity. So come see me, and I'll show you how to make the foldable, and write down any questions you have, and I will see you in class. Thanks for watching.